Welcome to Real Estate Real Talk with me, Skyleigh. I'm a realtor, coach, and founder of Forever Kamloops and Forever Kelowna Real Estate Groups and the creator of Elevation Real Estate, the realtor coaching platform. After nearly a decade in this industry, I've built a business that gives me more freedom, more income, and more time with the people I love. And now I'm here to help other realtors do the same. This podcast is for agents who want to build a thriving real estate business without burning out. We talk about scaling smart and building systems so you can buy back your life, because life shouldn't feel like all work and no play. And if you're a buyer or seller tuning in, consider this your backstage pass. You'll hear unfiltered conversations with top agents and industry pros, giving you the same insights we share behind closed doors. Knowledge is power, and the more you know, the better you can advocate for yourself and work with someone who truly has your back. Let's get real. Today, I'm sitting with TJ from TJ and Steph Real Estate Group here in Kelowna, and I'm wildly impressed by your business. I've actually been following you on social media for a while, and all your marketing, all this stuff, it looks so good. And I also love young entrepreneurs. We're in the same age demographic, and I always find it amazing when people in our age are just succeeding so well. And it's just impressive. So stoked for you, and I'm stoked to have you today. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of kudos because you're top 35, under 35 for Royal LePage Canada from 2021 all the way to 2024, which is awesome. You're in the top 1% of teams Royal LePage nationwide, which is also wildly impressive. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited.
Of course. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk some shop.
It's gonna be a good conversation. I know that I've said that already, but I felt already that we had some common beliefs around the way that we operate. And I think it just is going to push the industry forward into a more elevated industry, because collaboration and learning from each other and following a higher standard obviously ends up making the industry better as a whole.
100%.
It's gonna be good. So starting in real estate is super challenging. So tell me about when you first got into real estate, what made you get into real estate, and some of the things you were worried about when you first got in.
Yeah, it's growing up. I'm born and raised in Kelowna. My dad had a HVAC business, and we were always renovating, building, flipping houses on the side. So I ended up moving 16 times growing up. So I've lived in all sorts of different corners of the city and worked on the back of my dad's truck when I was 5 years old. So I was always in houses from foundation up, and just became very enamored by real estate. And I always knew I wanted to do something with it. Watching him swing a hammer 20 at literally insane hours all the time, I just was I don't know that I want to do that. And something with a little bit more of, I felt higher value, truly helping people through such a big milestone in their world. So I played hockey as well growing up, and every summer I'd come back and get an industry specific job, whether that was electrical or renovations or demolition. So I've been around real estate quite a bit. And when you get into real estate, you don't know what you don't know. I never really realized it was 24/7, 365. So that was something to get used to. I just think learning from somebody or kind of partnering up with somebody who's been there and done that is extremely important. I think too many agents get caught in, you can sell a house and make 10 grand. That's a huge thing, a misconception as well, as net income versus gross income, two completely different things. So I think a big thing for me was partnering up with somebody who's been there and done that, and who I really looked up to, and was I just want to learn, finding ways that I could add value to that person so they take me under their wing and show me the ropes, because there is so much to real estate that I think you can get your license in 3 months, right? You only learn so much through that. It's not day-to-day boots on the ground working with clients. It's all just textbook stuff, which I would say the majority of that doesn't even come up in the day-to-day. So it's an interesting start. It's a grind for sure.
1,001 ways not to get sued, but it doesn't actually tell you how to run a business, the course.
Yeah.
So
100%.
And I started the same way. I actually went onto a team right out the gate, got a ton of mentorship. Obviously you pay a premium for that, but I wouldn't be where I am today. And clearly you're saying you wouldn't be where you are today if you didn't invest in yourself and pay someone to mentor you. I think there's so many people, like you said, they get hung up on, I could make X amount of dollars if I did it myself, or I'm getting into real estate because I can make this money. But if you're not investing in your education,
yeah,
it's not
Yeah.
going to
And
get you there. So
if you come into it with just the mindset of the only reason you're getting into it is for the money, I think it's the wrong reason. I think there's so many other aspects of it. And I think like we always say on our team, like client first, paychecks come later, but like you just do the right thing. We're servicing people. Like the paycheck has to be at the back burner because it's just like we're consultants. We're not pushy salesmen. So it's a hard thing to do though, when you come from the mindset of like scarcity versus abundance. And it's easy to say, but like when you're not selling stuff for 3 months, you're still paying your fees, all the other things. So it takes time. But like you said, I think the ability to partner up with somebody who's actually doing business, about getting reps, about seeing how they conversate with clients, about problems. Another thing we always say is there's no problems, there's only solutions. Like any deal, there's going to be something that comes up, but our job is to put our heads together with the other agent or within our team and then find a solution for that. So going and getting reps in to actually seeing sales go through, even if you're not the forefront person who's dealing with everything, you're just in the office listening to phone calls. And one of the agents gets off the phone and you're like, hey, what was that about? That sounded interesting. How did you handle that? That sounded like an objection handle. There's just so much you can learn by just being around it, which I think too many people think, I'm just going to get my own office. I'm going to sit in there and I'm just going to hit the phones. And it's like, what's the first question you're going to ask? How are you going to lead that call? What's your process look like? You know what I mean? There's so much that you don't know. And I think, like you said, everybody gets too caught up in the end of the day, the paycheck, versus you got a career in this. The first couple of years are just about learning, about growing, absorbing, and not getting caught up. And this is where I'm going to be for the rest of my career. It's a place and time. It allows you to build your foundation and build from there.
yeah, you're reminding me, there's a course that I'm taking right now, and there's something that he keeps saying in the course, and it just really hits home because it's always the way that I've led, and it seems like it's the way that you've led as well, is that we're here to like help solve people's problems, right? If they don't have problems, like we're not going to have a job. Like our job is to problem solve, but there's this old school mentality that I think that we're getting away from, which is amazing. That is, we're in, again, this like sales job where we're selling people stuff, which, yes, we're helping somebody buy something, but we're not doing it to them, we're doing it for them. And it's like a shift in that mindset of we're in sales not to do it to them, but to help them with it and do it for them. Because again, if you don't have people who need help and support and help navigating the journey along the way, like we're not going to have a job. Making sure people feel like safe in that space, I think, is really important. It is a big misunderstanding. So is there anything else that was like you feel like people misunderstand about getting into real estate as well?
I think the time commitment and just realtors always seem like they're just golfing or they're out on the boat, and that's not the reality. Or you watch Selling Sunset and you're like, this is what it is. It's the furthest thing from that. I think as well, getting started, I took every single coffee with anybody, whether it was like, especially at the start of trying to build my Rolodex of like industry professionals in different spaces, because we view the people that we work with as an umbilical cord to how we operate. So we had to go and like sort through home inspectors, lawyers, mortgage brokers to find people that not only we would use and we do use, that we would feel that they would do the same service towards our clients. I'm just a big face-to-face, belly-to-belly kind of guy. I think like you can cold email a lawyer, but there's not going to be anything warm and fuzzy there when you send them a client versus they remember the face, the conversation, the way you make them feel. That was extremely important for me as well, as just building out that, because we're a real estate agent, but we're not going to be the master of a home inspection. Although I know how houses are built, I've done lots of renovations, I can coach people through that to get them a professional to then communicate the same things that I'm saying that kind of operates their business similarly to us is extremely important. Because when you put somebody in touch and you're like, here's a home inspector, I hope it works out, versus, hey, this is our home inspector. When I buy property, this is personally who I use. This guy's the best. It gives people a better feeling than just feeling like they're being passed around. So I think that was extremely as important as well. I made some notes when I was just thinking another thing too, like, especially when you get into it, you don't know what you're talking about, but there's a way through like scripting training that you can still coach. You can get the questions, the information that you need to guide people through the process, even though you don't know. And I always say to people now, we don't have all the answers, but I think the biggest thing is that you know that if I don't have the answer, I will go get it for you and I will tell you the answer, versus just being like, oh yeah, I think it's this. No. Actually, I don't know. That's a great question, but I'm going to find that out for you. And then actually following up with what you told them you were going to do, because that happens too much too, where there's no follow through.
Yeah, I can't stand the like making things up on the spot so that you don't seem like you don't know what you're talking about, because in every single transaction that we do, it's different. And there's new things that pop up along the way, or like law changes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like how many things have changed in the last couple years that have been like
alone.
big pivotal changes to the real estate industry. And it's, oh, it used to be like this, but now it's like this. And this is a small little piece that could be so many different ways, right?
You could do the exact same deal. Yeah. I was going to say, you could do the exact same deal of a 2-bedroom apartment in the exact same building. And if it's 2 months apart, even if it's like weeks apart, it could be a completely different process.
Yeah.
Especially with the rule changes, that's been such a thing to keep on top of with, God, there's been so many changes.
So many. It's wild. But yeah, like putting your ego aside, especially when you're new too, all the time, not even especially when you're new, but no, we don't know everything. And even when you're new, thinking that one day you will know everything, it's just not the reality of it. And like saying, hey, I'm actually not sure the exact answer to this. Like, I want to verify, because like you need to build that trust with your clients. And if it's a really quick way to build trust, being like, hey, I am actually like not 100% sure, and I want to make sure that I get you the answer that's 100% accurate.
As and writing down the question and being like, I'm going to get back to you by this afternoon. And if you don't have the answer by that afternoon, following up and saying, hey, I've reached out, still haven't dug that up for you, haven't forgot, I'll let you know as soon as I do. Like over communicating all these things, that's how you build trust. And like, it's such a trust-based business. And when someone's telling you and has the answers for everything, my radar starts to go off and I'm like, okay, like you can never know everything. There's so many intricacies that come up and it's, I don't need you to know everything. I just want to know that you're going to get me the actual proper answer. So just owning that. I think the way you communicate that to people is easy. And you just be like, I'm a human. I don't have answers to everything. Like ChatGPT may seem like it has the answers to everything, which we can use that as a resource, but I'm going to get you the right answer.
Yeah.
So rest assured, all your questions I'm going to take notes on. I'll send a recap, get back to you with all this.
And yeah.
Like, and okay, then great.
No even problem. So like I've actually had ChatGPT make mistakes too.
Oh yeah.
100%. It was like something super silly. And I think that I was talking to ChatGPT with my daughter about something, and I was asking it if a whale was a mammal, and it said no. And I was like, but I was pretty sure that it is, because it gives birth to live babies, and it was wrong. So I'm like, oh, that was like the quick moment for me to be like, oh, we really need to verify everything. Like it can get you so far, but it's not 100%. So
100%.
Yeah, it's funny. So when you first got started in the industry, you said that you partnered with a mentor, which is amazing. So can you share with me like where you got your leads from? And there's so many different avenues as to like where you can spend your time in order to generate business. So I'm curious to know where you generated.
Yeah, we started at a smaller boutique brokerage here in town that provides you with a lot of leads. There's a much different split structure on how it all works, but they're very much so like a lead generation machine. So that was how a lot of the leads came. And I was very vigilant the first couple of years that like, I don't want to work directly with like my COI or my center of influence right away, because I don't want them to feel like this obligation to work with me. I said, I want to get my career to a space where it's like, they're not choosing me because I'm their friend or their buddy. It's because they're like, no, this is the best realtor that could do the job for us. And that was why. So I was very focused on just working through like colder leads and helping out who's my now business partner, Steph, with her business. She had a very thriving business already, and we just organically started to cover for each other. And she was wanting a weekend off. And I said, no worries, I'll hold down the fort. And so I would take care of things through the weekend. And we just like organically started to go back and forth with that. And then we just said, let's create something for ourselves. And fast forward, it's been, like 6 years.
I love that you and Steph just stumbled into working with each other like that. But I feel like when you find someone that you're aligned with, it just makes it so easy. Because I've had so many business partners that just like we weren't fully aligned. And I was like, why is this so hard? Or like, why is this not working? And then now my business partner, I'm like, I think we've been working together for probably about 8 years now. And yeah, I'm just like, man, this is so much easier when you have the same expectations of each other and the same vision, and that you can lean on each other. And yeah, it's just.
Yeah, it's a game changer. It's like, I couldn't really imagine doing it. I couldn't imagine doing it on my own after seeing what we've built and just with having a team. We both come from team sport backgrounds too. She was a soccer player, I was a hockey player. And I think there's such a huge thing with that as well. Like together we do more versus just as a single individual person, celebrating the wins, the losses, the highs, the lows, brainstorming together collectively to find solutions. There's just so much value that can come from that. But it is hard to find somebody on your similar wavelength who's going to put in the work ethic that you are, who's going to have that same standard that you do as well. But once you find it, it's nice.
It's pretty magical. Yes, I agree with that. So then, like you said, starting on the team, and then you guys started working together just from covering each other. But when you started like building your database, like you said, you started working the leads originally from that team, but then I guess, what have you been doing now? What is your number one source of like lead generation, even for your team? Because you said you have 6 agents that you work with. You and Steph are the team leads, but then you have agents you work with too, right?
Yeah. So we've got me and Steph, both licensed agents. Then we have another guy, Mike, who's a licensed agent, Maggie, who's a licensed agent. Cassandra is licensed as well, but she's our transaction coordinator. So fully in the office. But as soon as we get an offer accepted, she steps in to stick handle absolutely everything because she's at her desk all day. And then Sydney is our unlicensed listing coordinator as well. So built a team around what people are good at. I'm not good at marketing. That's not my bread and butter. I like to be out in the field doing things. So realizing that quick in your career as well, and learning how to delegate and just like letting the small stuff go is a very hard thing to do. But just knowing that once you have the right people in those seats, it's such a game changer, buying back your time in that way.
Yeah.
So
have you ever done sorry. I was just going to you've ever done a DISC assessment? Because you've talked about this a couple of times, and you have, which I feel like I'm going to guess what yours is, but I'm curious to know. Are you an I? You're a high,
honestly
probably.
Can't even remember, but very likely. I did it like 5 years ago, but every time we're hiring and stuff, we do it as well. Because it's just an interesting thing to see. There's obviously different people for different seats and just their personality types and all of that. So it's interesting. I haven't done it in a while. I should actually refresh and see what it is because I cannot remember.
Yeah. I always get people to do DISC assessments too. I actually went to university for psychology before I got into real estate. So I love psychology, but I do feel like putting people where their strengths are is so important. And you said you're the belly to belly guy, and that makes me think that you're probably like a high I, just being like the networker. That's what the I person is.
The networker, the connector, always trying to put different people in touch if I feel it'd be a good fit for sure. Very extroverted.
Yeah. Anyways, I ended up cutting you off asking you that question. You had a thought.
Leads, I think. So truly our business is built off of like repeat business, word of mouth, and referral. And I know it sounds crazy. We don't have these lead gen machines, but our MO is just like every client is a client for life. So that's always the way we look at it through, because the average person transacts real estate every 4 to 5 years. So if we can do a very good job for people, if we can be a true expert, a consultant, not a pushy salesman, that person is going to come back to us. Whenever they think real estate, we want them to think us. And we pour back into our clients. Like we do an annual client appreciation event. We had 175 clients come this year, which is phenomenal. I think we always joke, we're like, who's going to come to their realtor's client party? And I make the joke on the mic when I'm telling my little speech every year, because I'm like, it's just amazing to see how many people actually take the time to come out. But I think the biggest thing, especially from the online space, is genuinely reviews. Like the amount of leads that we get to come in just from people finding us online when they go Top Realtor Kelowna or Real Estate Agents Kelowna, it's free. Like these are genuine clients that we've had the pleasure of working with, and we set expectations day one with them when we're first sitting down and we're like going through our presentation about how we operate, what our process looks like. And then we say, when we knock your socks off, create the best real estate experience you've ever had, there's going to be something we're going to ask of you. They're like, oh, what's that? We're going to ask you to take a couple quick minutes to leave a little review about your experience working with us, because that's truly the best way to help us grow our business. Does that sound like something that'd be okay? Yes, great. Then you follow up at the end of the process, sending a review link. Sometimes you have to follow up multiple times, but it's genuinely hands down the best way to get future clients, because they read through, and we use a platform called RateMyAgent. So they're like triple verified. They review that the property address is matching something you actually sold. So it's genuine, real people. It's not bots.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's been the biggest thing for us. And then our networks locally, like being born and raised here, I'm blessed in that sense. And moving so much, I met so many different people, went to so many different schools. So have a wide web in that space. But yeah, truly word of mouth, repeat business, and referrals.
Yeah, mine operates off of referrals too. When I first got started in the business, it was pay-per-click ads, which was the team that I had worked it with. That's where I lived and breathed, was for the first handful of years. But from having a large amount of sales in my first handful of years, and then operating from a place of, again, like relationships and being genuine and caring about these people, like I adopted all of them as my friends, which is probably sounds like what have you done as well, which is why they come to your client appreciation event. But then, yeah, it just kind of starts domino affecting, expanding to having all of these other people come back, which is absolutely amazing. And like you said, it's the highest rate of return on any quote unquote lead generation that you can do. It's
100%.
It's amazing. No, I'm so happy to hear that you do that as well. So do you have any fun projects that you're working on right now? Like, where are you guys at right now?
Yeah, we've got a few irons in the fire. We just expanded our team and added Mike like a month ago. So we're looking at a few other options. I can't say too much yet. I know it's not like the secret, but we are working on a couple things to further expand the team. But we've been very cautious of not making this team like a mega team. Like we keep it truly tight knit, small. We meet every morning as a team at 10 a.m. so that all of our clients we're all plugged into, because we're all involved with every client. So whether I sell the house or Mike sells the house or Maggie sells the house, everybody also celebrates in the wins in terms of how our compensation structure works. It allows us as well to have time to recharge because we have days off. Again, we're human. A lot of times in real estate, agents burn out. You don't hear from them over the weekend. You're like, what's going on? So we always have somebody every day of the week who's on call or who's the head agent for that day, which has been amazing. And it allows us all to recharge our batteries and have that like true teamerage where we're truly like a family. Like even this weekend, there was 4 of us that spent the whole weekend together, even though we worked together all week. So it's a lot of fun.
I love that. But I think it's true that you need time to recharge and lean on each other so that you can last long term. Because yeah, the burnout rate for any business is really high. And keeping your team small, I think that's actually really smart. I ended up having my team like scaled up to be a good size at one point, and it was slightly painful because I don't think that we were all aligned, and I thought that's what you were supposed to do. And then I learned the hard way that I was like, oh no, like this doesn't feel as good. And then when I really dialed it back, I was like, okay, this actually feels a lot better. Now we're aligned. And yeah, that burnout rate ended up fading off because I felt like I was getting there for a while.
Yeah. You're in the business of managing people when it grows to too many butts and seats versus actually being an agent.
Yeah, and I felt like I was dragging people as opposed to like us all just like walking through it together. So it's nice that you found a group of people that align.
Yeah, we feel we have the magic number now. We've been like toying with different numbers or if we should add another unlicensed assistant to take on more back-end stuff. But I feel like we're pretty stoked with kind of the size and what we have right now. It's been awesome.
And then, so we touched a little bit on personal development before we jumped on, but you said you guys do a lot of things together. I'm assuming that you do a lot of courses of personal development together too then, right? Just to move things forward.
Yeah, like reading books. In high school, I always loved it. I was like, I've never read a book front to back. I thought that was awesome. I was a hockey guy, like whatever. And then my first year in real estate, I just got into this space of like personal development. How can I be my best version of myself to then help others?
Yeah.
So like even my first year in real estate, I read 36 books, which was absurd. But all these things, even if I took one piece of every book, it was insane the amount of value that I found that I got. One of the most impactful ones was Miracle Morning. We're just like changing my morning routine and my structure. I always used to hate mornings, even though like we'd have hockey practice at 6 a.m., but just changing the way I looked at it. And it's my quiet time in the morning. I get up pretty early at 5 and to be able to get that stuff out of the way.
The hockey mentality in you. I don't know how you do it. I'm such a night owl. Mornings, my kids, I didn't realize when I decided to have kids. I don't know if you have kids, but when I decided to have kids, I didn't realize that I was signing up for 20 more years of school.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, like I just got out of having to get up every morning for myself to go to school. And now
You're
I
back.
signed up for them to go, and I'm like, cool. So anyways, your hockey background, you have this morning kind of mentality that you've grown up with for years, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And just, I always would say though, it was a frictional relationship. Like I didn't love mornings, but now that's my favorite part of the day.
Now that you've
And
done the Miracle Morning, tell me, is it the same Miracle Morning that I've heard from? I'm pretty sure that I've read the book or at least heard parts from it. So is it the same as the Miracle Morning within the book, or did you create your own and move things around, or what?
kind of create my own and move things around. But it really started, I did definitely take the book and just try and run with that, just because I was like, I'm going to see how this works for me, but then you can massage it and fill holes with what's better for you. I did a challenge called 75 Hard, and that was definitely what kickstarted this whole thing for me, especially in the mornings, because it's just like getting my day set up before the phone starts going. Like you're either proactive or reactive, and getting up a little bit earlier just allows me to be much more like ready for the day versus just waking up and jumping into it. I'm prepared, I'm ready, and it's such a game changer.
Yeah, you're actually touching on something that I had to tweak in my business too, because the first thing that I used to do when I would get up would be to like start looking at my phone and going through my emails and all of that kind of stuff. And it was really hard on like my mental health, that as soon as you wake up, you see the overwhelm of the list of things that you have to do for the day,
Yeah,
and that you didn't take any time for yourself in order to fill your cup and kind of get into this mental state to be able to tackle your day. So
yeah,
I made that tweak, which is one of the suggestions I believe that is in the book, making sure you have like your you time, meditation, and just like your own personal like health stuff in the morning
100%.
was,
And we
yeah.
always say you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And that for us is, or for me especially, is part of
I
my
like that.
system.
Yeah.
It's again either proactive or reactive, and in this business to be proactive is so beneficial. But yeah, I used to do it too. The last thing you do before you go to bed, look at clear your emails out, clear your texts, and you wake up. It's the first thing you do as well. But if you get up a little bit earlier, you take your you time, you have your coffee, you get your sweat in, you've already won the day. Like you've already done the hard thing. The hard thing's out of the way, and then your mood, it's crazy. And it's such
Say,
a
like, rise your
cliche thing.
dopamine levels first thing in the morning, so that you're like coasting through with all of your
Yeah.
endorphins running before like getting
You're
smacked
like
in the face
excited
with
to get
some of the
after
things
it.
we have to deal with.
Yeah, 100%.
So,
Like excitement versus, oh God, here we go again.
yeah. Have you ever read the book? It's a little bit different topic. However, we've chatted a little bit about this as to how you operate within your business. But have you ever read the book called The Go-Giver by Bob Burg?
I haven't.
I feel like you would really like that book. It's the 5 laws of stratospherical success, and it is all about the more you lead with value, the more you'll get back in payment. But it's not leading with thinking about the money aspect of everything. It's just like the more you outpour to everybody else in value, like just the universe like gives it back
Pays
tenfold.
it back. That's
Yeah,
very true. I'll definitely look
it's
that
a
up.
really good book. I have heard there's so many people that I know that have read that book multiple times, and then they just live their life that way. And it's again like living with abundance. And it's a really great book to read. And it was a really easy one too. But yeah, I think it's a good,
Yeah, there's so many
good one.
like self-improvement books out there. Start with Why, Atomic Habits, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah,
You
Ninja
just can gain
Selling is
so
another
much.
good one. And
Ninja
I
selling,
love
yeah.
how to win friends and influence people. I've read that one multiple times as well. But
Yeah.
there's so many good ones. Okay, so I want to wrap this up because we're at our 30-minute mark. Wow, I actually looked at the clock. We're 30 minutes and 15 seconds. That's impressive because I did not track
Yeah.
that. I just looked at it for a second. So I want to hear a piece of advice that you could give to anybody getting into real estate, and where people should find you on social media if they do want to connect about how you
Yeah,
operate your
absolutely.
business, etc.
I think biggest advice is get into it for the right reason. Come at it through the lens of actually wanting to help people that'll actually fill your cup versus always thinking about the paycheck or thinking you see people who are successful in real estate and just assume that it's easy. It's not. It's a very challenging, very draining business, but in the same token, it is extremely rewarding, the part of people's lives that you get to be a part of. So come at it through wanting to help people, and the rest of it will take care of itself. As far as finding us, pretty easy to find, just TJ Dumonceaux on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We've got TJ and Steph Real Estate Group, or tjandsteph.com to find out more about the team.
Perfect. No, that's amazing. And again, thank you so much for coming on today. I think that there's so much value in everything that you shared.
My pleasure. Thanks for your time as well.
That's a wrap on this episode of Real Estate Real Talk. Whether you're an agent building your business or a buyer or seller trying to get the real story, thanks for being here. If this episode gave you clarity, confidence, or just something to talk about, I'd love for you to follow, rate, and share the show. It helps more people find these conversations. If you have questions or want to connect, head over to SkyleighMcCallum.com or come hang out with me on Instagram. Thanks for listening, and I hope you catch the next episode on Real Estate Real Talk.